We move through life making what we believe are free choices, but many of us inhabit a structure we cannot see, an architecture of reflexes and hesitations that quietly curates our decisions and limits our reach. We build walls to keep out pain, failure, and judgment, identifying these boundaries as protective instincts. These exact same defenses often lock us away from the experiences and connections we desperately want. In their book, The Root Within, authors Gregory D. Hayes and Kenneth Johnson argue that the varied insecurities we battle, whether it's crippling anxiety or a rigid need for control, emerge from the same source. They are all expressions of a single unspoken terror. To tear down this structure, we have to recognize that it exists. Dismantling the prison requires us to stop looking at the walls and assuming they represent our true identity. Most of us have spent decades cultivating behaviors that we proudly label as our personality. We categorize ourselves as introverted, highly driven, or detail-oriented. Take the person who constantly delays starting a project because they are waiting for the perfect moment. That endless hesitation masks a paralyzing fear of failure. Or consider the person who keeps everyone at a comfortable distance and never asks for help. That social retreat serves as a shield deployed to avoid the pain of being rejected. Then there is the relentless overachiever, polishing every single detail until it is flawless. This perfectionism functions as a defense mechanism, worn to ensure no one ever sees them as inadequate. These compensations form the foundation of our character. Much of our unique personality is actually a defense system, constructed entirely by our fears. To understand why we cling to these masks, we have to look beneath the surface actions and examine the mechanical loop that generates them. This diagram outlines the insecurity cycle. Everything begins with a root fear, sparking the doubt that you are not enough. This forces an outward behavior, overworking, withdrawing, or lashing out to regain control. But this behavior feeds right back into the cycle, confirming your initial fear. Breaking this loop requires attacking the fear at the top. Managing the behaviors at the bottom only keeps the engine running. This psychological engine does not stay confined to our private thoughts. It branches out, bleeding into every corner of human connection and achievement. This chart maps how fear patterns distribute across our lives. Professionally, fear of failure stalls careers, burying best ideas. In our homes, fear of abandonment and rejection corrodes intimacy, suffocating bonds. In communities, fear of judgment forces us to erase our true opinions. Fear is an active infection. It turns the relationships and structures meant to support us into zones of anxiety and strict control. To dismantle these patterns, we must identify exactly which terrors are running the engine. This data ranks common forms of insecurity. At the top, fear of failure and rejection dictate our daily choices. Beneath them, fears of exposure and abandonment drive our emotional isolation. At the base lies a primal dread, the fear of irrelevance and vanishing. Insecurity grows from a single tree of fear. These various behaviors are simply branches, drawing their energy from the terror of vanishing. Understanding the mechanics of fear is one thing. Confronting what it has already cost you is another. When we let insecurity author our decisions, we end up living an almost life. We have dreams we almost pursued, hard truths we almost spoke, and necessary risks we almost took. We cling to these hesitations because fear promises us safety. In reality, safety without exposure causes a slow, quiet suffocation of our own potential. We rarely reach the end of our lives destroyed by the outside world's judgment. We are dismantled by our own preemptive self-rejection. We quit before the world even has a chance to weigh in.